Yay. Okay. Hi, everybody. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, we're good? Yay. Welcome to the Sisters in Heart of Texas chapter September chapter meeting. I have a few announcements to make before we get started. First of all, elections are coming and we need volunteers. We have a volunteer for president for next year, but we will need a vice president, a secretary, a membership chair, if you want to help with sending out communications via mailer light. If you want to help with the website, please contact me. Contact me through either the website, send me an email. We'll do our vote probably in December. Normally we would do it in November. However, the day of our November meeting is the Texas Book Festival this year, where we will have a table. So instead of a November meeting, we're asking everybody to come out and visit the Texas Book Festival and see us at our table. If you'd like to sign up to work at the Texas Book Festival table or to sell your own books and sign your own books at our table, we have time slots available on a Sign Up Genius that went out this week. I'm going to be posting that on our chapter TradeWing page for Sync, and you'll be able to find the link there if you didn't find it in your email. So please sign up for that. Next thing, we're also updating our chapter bylaws because they're about 14 years old and the national organization put out a new template at some point. So Helen Curry Foster, who was kind enough to review the template and to update our bylaws, and those have been placed on our TradeWing page as well. And we'll need the membership to vote on them also in December. Let's see, what else do I need to tell you? Next month, we will have author Bradley Harper talking to us about researching and writing historical mysteries. He's a retired U.S. Army colonel and pathologist with extensive experience in autopsies and forensic investigation, and along with clinical experience, he has 4 commands. He had 4 commands and is the only non-Italian ever to receive the Knights of Malta Award for support of the Italian Army. A lifelong fan of Sherlock Holmes, upon retirement, he received his associates in creative writing from Full Sail University to help him write the book, A Knife in the Fog, that he'd always wanted to read. And each Christmas, he and his wife play Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So we're looking forward to having him next month. Today, we have Beth Barani. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Yes, thank you. So she is going to be talking to us about branding for novelists and drafting your author branding statement. Marketing can be overwhelming for authors. To reach readers, lots of experts tell you to blog and use social media and send out newsletters, but you'd rather work on your next book. It's a whole lot to contemplate. So today, Beth is going to walk us through and teach us how to come up with your 1-sentence branding statement to attract the right readers, come up with possible brand taglines, the core elements of your author bio that carry the message about your book and your mission. Beth teaches novelists how to write, edit, and publish their books as a coach, teacher, consultant, and developmental editor. She's an award-winning fantasy, science fiction, and mystery novelist and runs the podcast, How to Write the Future. You can find out more about her at bethbarani.com. And here is Beth. Beth, do you mind if we record you?
Not at all. Please go ahead.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm putting in the chat the handout for those of you. Hi, thanks for that wave. Putting in the chat for those of you who aren't local to grab the handout. And I believe those of you who are local are able to have it in front of you. So I'm going to dive in. It's a slide presentation with lots of interactions. So let's dive right in. And for those of you who are in the room, I hope there's a way also for you to participate in the chat. This is a highly participatory event workshop if you want. And great, so let's get started. So we're going to talk about author branding today. And first I want to learn a little bit about who is here so I can make sure I tailor this presentation to you. So if you can post in the chat And maybe for those in the room, someone could be a representative, a scribe, and write in there, what is your genre? What is your subgenre? And I'm not looking for right answers. I'm just looking for how you describe yourself currently. And that might go through some refinement today. And that'll be fun. But I put up on the screen some fun options you can mix and match and put them in whatever combo you want. And on the screen, we have supernatural, thriller, mystery, drama, action, romance, historical, horror, suspense, noir, science fiction, fantasy. And we have a cat. An orange cat is on the screen because, cats. I might get a visit from one of mine. Let's see. We have here romantic suspense and traditional mystery police procedural, mystery and mystery thriller, mystery and sci-fi short stories, mystery and legal thrillers. Great. And I know, let's see, mystery, thriller, suspense, crime, paranormal, fabulous. I love when people mix more than one genre. I do. I'll share that with you in a moment. Great. Super duper. And then let's move on. Just tell me a little bit more. We talked about what genre you're writing. Are you published? Are you unpublished? And also, are you marketing your books? In whatever way that can be all kinds of ways, right? I just want to know, are you actively marketing? Are you preparing to market? Are you afraid of marketing? And tell me if you are published or unpublished, just so I have a sense of who is maybe in the swimming pool already around marketing, who is like looking at it like, I don't know if I want to dip my toe in that just yet. Great, we got some smiley faces, sort of. Indie published, yes, on marketing. Published, yes, marketing trying, excellent. Published short stories, fabulous. Not published yet. Some are indie published. Great, we have a nice cross section here. Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, a little bit about me. As I believe it was Noreen who introduced me. So I teach genre fiction writers, science fiction writers, fantasy, romance, mystery novelists. I really focus in on how do you go from idea to finished book. So the writing, the planning, the writing, the editing, and the publishing. I wear a few different hats. I am a creativity coach by training. I'm a teacher also by training. Sometimes I've consulted. I've taught in classrooms and online, obviously, and I work as a developmental editor on specific projects sometimes. I'm an award-winning fantasy and science fiction novelist, and as Noreen said, I run the podcast, How to Write the Future. Episodes are dropping weekly and are available wherever you get your podcasts. My focus is tips for fiction writers on creating a positive, optimistic future, because I believe that what we vision, we help make so. We are powerful, us creatives. So I have fun with that. And I talk to writers, I talk to futurists, and I talk to people who are looking forward into the future of publishing, as well as the future of other industries. Excellent. Londo just finished first draft. Congratulations. Francine says, indie published, marketing needs work. Great. Pamela says, humorous mystery series that's published. Fun. Great. Here is my books. I also have a sweet paranormal romance series in that box set, Touchstone series. There's my Henrietta the Dragon Slayer trilogy. I actually have a copy of it right here. So excited. That book, I love that trilogy. We have the Janie McAllister mystery series. She is a space station investigator, working on book 5 right now. The first 4 books are out. And I am independently published. A little bit about me, a little bit more. I live in Oakland, California. I love walking in my neighborhood, gardening on my patio, watching movies, talking story, and also traveling with my husband, who is a physics teacher by day and a thriller author by night. We live in Oakland, California, with an electric piano, over 1,000 books, probably 2,000 books, and 2 usually very demanding, bossy, and yet sweet cats. Here they are, Rocket and Cinnamon. Both of us are born and raised here in Northern California, and together we lived in Paris for 2 years, Paris, France, and that was 20 years ago. It's hard to believe I've been home for 20 years from living in France. And just a land statement, we live in the territory of the Wiccan part of the stolen land of the Chochenyo Mukwekma Ohlone, who are the successors of the historic and sovereign Verona Band of Alameda County. And I grew up in the Miwok territory. So that is about me. Now we're going to focus on you. We're going to go through some foundations around marketing and author branding specifically. We're going to do a little assessment, or I'm inviting you to do an assessment. I'll discuss deeper what is author branding from my perspective, talk about why you need it. Then we'll work together on your author branding statement. And I'll talk a little bit about how to apply your author branding statement and I'll take your questions. Now, because we're together today up until 1:30 Pacific, what is that, 3:30 your time? Oh, for those who are in Central Time, that would be 4:30 Eastern. I don't know if anyone here is in Mountain Time. That would be 2:30 Mountain Time. I am happy to take your questions throughout, although I sometimes might just table them if I'm in the middle of something. So please feel free to put your questions in the chat. And for those of you in the room at the library, if someone could gather questions, throw them in the chat, and I definitely will be pausing for questions periodically and definitely at the end for sure. All right. I love this quote by Albert Einstein: creativity is intelligence having fun. So I want you to have fun today. We might be going into some territories that are a little bit in the wilds, a little bit unique or unusual, and for some, maybe completely familiar, but it could be also very different than what you're used to. On that note, I would love to take the temperature a little bit more deeply about you, your author career, where you would like to go with your author career. What are some of your big dreams? What are some of your concerns? What are some of your hopes and desires? I'm specifically looking at it through the lens of marketing, but I'm also big picture here. It's a wide open question. So if you care to share, what are some of your big dreams about your author career? And while you think about this, I'll just share one with you. Is I have a very big dream to turn my young adult adventure fantasy series into a film. And actually not necessarily, yes, this material, but also new material. And I've actually started. So that's pretty amazing. Something I've been wanting to do for like 20 years, and I'm finally starting. So my big dream, one of them is to have my work up on the big screen or the small screen, but in live action or even cartoon. What about you? What would you really like? What is your big dream? Anyone want to share? Fabulous. Thank you, Pat. Your dream, your fantasy, you would like to sell 1 million books. Woohoo! Awesome. What else? These are the big impossible dreams. It's great. They pull us forward, even if they feel impossible. To get published, great. To sell overseas. Ooh, yes. Fabulous. Yeah, I definitely would love my work translated. That's another dream of mine. To finish my first book. Great. Yeah. Good. To be a best-selling author. Fabulous. Thanks, Juanita. Yeah. Any concerns that are top of mind that come up as you start to think about your big dream? I know for me, one of my concerns in the past was just how to handle all the moving parts. So that's why it took me so long to even start start a little movie, which I'm now finally starting. Nonfiction success, story or novel. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Good. So write it down in your notebook or wherever you keep your notes. It's great to have this in mind. Someone says, how to have a PR presence without getting too personal with the public. Yeah. Oh, you meant fiction, right? Great. Yes. Great. Well, we are going to touch a little bit on like how do you show up as an author without revealing anything that you don't want to reveal. So great. We'll talk about that. Any other concerns? I'm going to take a drink of water. I come up against that one a lot. Like, how do I be out there without stepping over some boundary that, there's the private self and then there's the public self. So we'll talk about that. If you have any other concerns that arise as we go through this material, please, if you feel comfortable, please share. It will help everyone who is here. All right. I found this quote when I was researching earlier earlier this year when I presented to another writers group, and I really loved it. It's from Chip Heath and Dan Heath, who have a book on marketing. I believe they have lots of books on marketing, but book is called Made to Stick: Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die. They say the most basic way to get someone's attention is this: break a pattern. So I think as fiction writers, a lot of us understand this, and just keep it in mind, in the back of your mind as we go forward. All right, I see something else in the chat. Let's see, concerns. The marketing side may be beyond my skill set. Yes, thanks, Pat. Yeah, absolutely. It can feel daunting. Now, here's my coaching side, my spiritual side coming out. And also, in my science fiction, I think a lot about the stars. And as you may know, all the stars, we share the same components, the same chemical makeup as the stars. I find a lot of guidance in thinking about the stars. And as we think about the stars, we can also think about ourselves here on planet Earth, and just notice how we are small to the greatness of this universe. And at the same time, we are real. We are here. You have your thoughts, you have your feelings, your desires, and all of it is welcome here, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it brings up feelings that sometimes are hard to feel. And at the same time, be open to being surprised. Who knows? Who knows what will come out of today that you can walk away with? My goal is that you walk away with something that you can use and adapt into your marketing. All right. So we're now going to go through 5 points, or actually we're going to do 4. We already did the first one, which is we addressed a little bit your current thoughts and feelings about your author career, about putting yourself out there through branding and marketing. I just kept it really broad. Now we're going to drill down into point number 2, and then we have 3 more points after this. And this is important. When you as an author go out into the world, you want to be yourself, and you're going to be having your author persona, and it's all founded on your values, or some might call them your principles. And what we want is to think about, what is your top values? If it's helpful, just brainstorm a list of your top 5. See if you can pull your top 3 out of there, and then see if you can figure out which is the value you would put on top, the most important value. And I'm going to give you about a minute to brainstorm this. And the prompt is, what's really important to me is, and in a moment, I'm going to give you a minute to brainstorm. And here's some examples that can be all kinds of things: family, love, integrity, fun, freedom, joy, trust. And of course, it's really wide open there. So I'm going to give you, now let's take a minute and do some brainstorming. And then I would love to hear what you've discovered is your number 1 value. See if you can narrow it down to that. And I will share in a moment my top 3, and then tell you which is my top 1. All right, I'm going to give you a minute, and I'm going to mute myself for that and go. All right, that was a minute. And let's see what you have put in the chat. I see Francine said family first. Great. Thank you, Francine. Excellent. So share in the chat if you'd like. My top 3 are, I kind of put them all together: fun, play, curiosity, compassion, embracing the unknown. And I would say my number one value really is this playful curiosity that just leads me forward. And if I could enfold enthusiasm in there, I would. All right. Let's see. Francine says, family first, integrity and ethics in writing, trust. Fabulous. Evolving identity. Ooh, I love that. Yes. And then also loyalty, support to family, love, learning, the world, plants, birds, flowers. Yes. Getting things, music, writing done. Yes. Pat says family, fun, achieving my potential, helping others. Wonderful. And see if, as you play with your values, if you can identify, if you had to say just one, if you had to lead with just one, what would that be today? You know, and this may evolve. Great. I really appreciate you all sharing that with me. And this is gonna wrap back into our exercise of the author branding statement. Great. Okay. Now, put down on your paper what your specific inner and outer goals of your author career are. And for some, that might be how many books you write, might be the outer goal. How many sales you make, also an outer goal, although that's beyond our we can't control other people buying our books, but we could still have it as a goal. Awards, you want to be an award-winning author. And those are all on the outside. And then for the inside, what is the experience that you want to have? Is it feelings of satisfaction or a sense of accomplishment or the delightfulness of being able to create? And I'm just going to let you work on that. And that's more for you, but you're welcome to share that if you'd like. And then this is going to come back into the author brand, especially in the bio. Think about yourself as a fan. Think about your hobbies and your interests and make a list of those things that you love to do. Like if nobody's paying you and you spend your free time doing it. Like for me, it's puttering around in the garden. I have several worm boxes. I like watching videos about the foundations of physics. I love watching space launches. I speak French, so listening to French news, and I love discovering new music, right? So all of these things are part of myself as a fan and as a reader. And I love reading stories about strong women, military, who are doing amazing things. So just have a list of that because you're going to come back and draw from that later as well. I am going a little bit quickly because I want to get us to the hands-on portion where you're actually building your author branding statement. And so lastly, the last part of the assessment is just to be honest with yourself about how you feel about marketing. Marketing is tough, and there can be some parts of us that are very resistant to it. And so just to call to mind this notion of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. When I teach marketing, it can be confronting, and I recognize that. I was very confronted when I had to start to learn, when I was presented with the marketing aspects of fiction. I was very shocked. So it's great to be aware of that and notice where might you have a fixed mindset, which is defined as generally the feeling of like, well, this is the cards I was dealt. That's it. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change. I can't learn. Things don't change. This is just the way it is. Or a growth mindset on the other side of the spectrum is I can change, I can learn, things can change. It doesn't just because it is this way today doesn't mean it's going to be that way tomorrow. And I feel like when I was starting out, I was a bit stubborn and I was a bit in the fixed mindset around, this is just too hard. I just don't want to deal with it. And I would just like shove it aside and not deal with it for a while until I learned, oh, if I don't learn how to market my fiction, I'm really going to be, no one's going to know about my work. And so I'm like, there's got to be a way. And then my positive, optimistic side came back around and said, there's got to be a way. I can learn this. I don't know how, but I can learn this. So just take a moment to notice where you might be in that fixed place, or where you might be oriented like, oh no, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do this. Okay. Just noticing, I can see some of you all when I open up. There we go. Little side thing. Okay. Great. Now let's dive in specifically to what is author branding. I'm going to define it for you. It's a little bit of a few slides of me just lecturing, and then we're going to dive into you actually creating your author branding statement. And feel free to ask questions as I go through this portion, and I hope I can address them here, or I will let you know if I can address them throughout as we move forward. So here is my definition of author branding. It is a big, it's a big pot. It's who you are. So all the parts of you that show up as an author, all the parts that you want to have visible to everyone, and also all the parts that you don't want to have visible, but it's who you are. And that will be shaped for public consumption. It's also what you stand for. And that's why I asked you about your values. Those values, that's what you stand for. Also, it's what you promise, which is the kind of stories that you write, the genre, when you say mystery or thriller or sci-fi or historical, right? Each one of those things is a promise to the reader. And then branding is also what you deliver. What are you actually showing up with? Those specific things. Put all together, in my opinion, that creates the package of author branding. I also see author branding is not just what you show to the world. It's also an invitation for relationships, connections, conversations, relationships with your readers, relationships with the people who support you in the indie book publishing process, or if you're traditionally published, anybody who's involved with you, how you show up at events, that's all author branding. And then something that I discovered early on is that author branding also involves what the readers are saying about you. They're helping you define your brand just as much as you are shaping it by everything that I just said. And sometimes they will say things about your work that you didn't even notice was there. And then it becomes, then you can include it. I had that experience. It was lovely and surprising and so unexpected. So I came up with this statement when I started teaching branding for novelists years ago. A brand is a promise of an experience. So when we show up as ourselves, through our social media, through a website, through a book cover, we are promising the reader an experience. And of course, we need to deliver on that experience. So why do you need a brand as an author? You need to be able to communicate to people who don't yet know you what kind of experience they're going to have. What is that promise and what will the experience be? So I did put all these different cars together on the screen, and each kind of car has a different kind of experience. You've got your high end, I believe that's a Bentley. You've got your practical Kia. You've got your, bright neon green food truck, or your gray, truck that you would carry supplies in, or your cute little old Porsche, or this one here at the bottom. I think this is it's a camper van, right? You could take your whole family and go camping or travel and live in your camper van. So when you show up with your brand, people could then say, oh yeah, that's exactly the kind of story I love to read. Ooh, and they reach for it. Or so when readers know your particular flavor, they can also tell your friends about it. And you can promote yourself, and you know what you stand for, and therefore you can sell books and fulfill your purpose as an author. And maybe there's some other reasons why, and satisfaction. There's some other reasons why you need an author brand. People have told me that when they know what they stand for and they can express it easily and effortlessly, then marketing becomes easier, and then they take action. So as I've said before, when you market, you can reach your readers, you can sell your books, you can fulfill your dream of being an author and realize your potential. Marilyn Flower took my Branding for Novelists class, which this is a part of. And she said she wasn't sure if given I haven't published yet, I wasn't sure I was ready. But now I have so much information and ideas and copy that I've already posted on social media that there she was getting started. It was almost like, wow, I'm already starting marketing. She felt so good about that. So it gives you confidence. All right. And here's also where this whole project of creating the author branding statement evolved. It came from my work as a beginning entrepreneur, and people are like, "What do you do?" And I had to learn how to say, "Oh, I help novelists write books." And this is the same thing, right? You're out and about in the world. People find out you're a writer, and they might say, "What do you write?" You want to be able to answer that question in a way that, like, in one sentence, that gets them excited, gets them thinking about who might be a reader, including themselves, and also lets you know right away and them know whether or not they're interested in reading your book. So people will either lean in, buy your book, tell someone else, just makes the buying decision so much easier. Here's a statement I came up with recently. Don't be the best kept secret no one knows about. That's another reason why you want to have an author branding statement. All right, let's dive in. Pausing here to see if there are any questions. Just checking my little timeline here. Looks like we're doing good on time. Yeah, any burning questions? Everyone ready to write? Yes, nodding. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maureen. Okay, we're going to do 4 components, and you're going to have an opportunity to brainstorm each one. You have an opportunity to post things in the chat, and I'm happy to do a little workshopping with you if you do that. We're going to go through what is your genre, who is your audience, what is the audience's desired result or experience, basically what they want, and your intended action upon your readers, which is going to relate directly to your values and your top value, ideally, or related to your top values. All right, and here's my example. So, hey, Beth, what do you write? Oh, I write magical tales of romance, mystery, and adventure to empower girls and women to be the heroes of their own lives. I've had that for about, a long time, over 10 years. Here's some other examples. I write romantic suspense novels that invite women to experience the heart-pounding rush of danger, action, and romance. Here's another one. This is my husband's. I write suspense novels that thrill adults interested in Jewish themes to challenge their personal relationship with Judaism. And my husband writes the Torah Code series. Another person wrote, I write historical and contemporary romances to awaken the soul and ignite the imagination of women of all ages to realize their own potential. And then my last example here, you can tell I've presented a lot to romance authors. I write sensual paranormal romance that inspires women to feel rapture and the power of true love. Those are just a few examples, and you'll be writing your own. All right. So the biggest job here for you is to be specific, but don't worry if your first draft isn't specific enough. But if you share the things with me in the chat, I will definitely offer you some feedback. All right. So again, your genre, your audience's desired result or experience, what they want, and your intended action upon the reader. And in the chat is the link, and I'll post it again just in case people are late. If you don't already have the handout, we're going to go through these one by one. All right. What is your genre? Now, I know there's a lot of mystery writers in the room. Fabulous. Can you drill it down a little bit more? Can you say cozy mystery? Can you say medical mystery? Can you say, like, I write sci-fi mystery? So that's, if I were just talking about my one genre, I would say I write sci-fi mystery. So what genre do you write? I'm going to give you a minute.
Question. The question is, what do you do if you write in multiple different genres because you write short stories in various genres?
Yes, I get this question every time. So for the purpose of the first time through this exercise, just pick one of your genres. So just pick, your short stories, for example. See if you can use this exercise for that, or whichever other one. Yeah.
Pick one genre. Okay.
Genre, yeah, for this exercise. As you can see, my initial, what I told you, I write magical tales of mystery, romance, mystery, and adventure. That evolved after I had written a bunch of stuff. But I started off with, I write young adult adventure fantasy for teens and girls to empower them to empower them to be the heroes of their own lives. So I started out with just naming my genre and being super specific. Young adult, action, adventure, epic, fantasy. I don't know. Oh, that's our first minute. All right, what do we got here? Do we have some specific genres to share? Folks want to share? If you want help, you can share it in the chat. If everyone's good, we'll move on. Psychological thriller. Thank you, Londo. Yes, very nice. Environmental mystery. Nice. I like how specific that is. And you could even call that eco mystery, maybe, Mary, because that's super trendy. Contemporary women's fiction. Excellent. And if your work is based in a location, you can even use that. I heard before we started, some people were talking about Austin-based short stories like that. The more specific, the better. Great traditional mystery detective stories. Now, I don't know what traditional means. So maybe say Sherlock Holmes inspired or Poirot inspired, right? Like be specific about what's traditional. PI stories, great. Private Eye, right? If you wanted to say that your stories were set in a city or a time period, I think that's going to help. Whodunits, fabulous. If your stories are noir, or if they're inspired by Norman Chandler, or they're like Michael Connolly-esque, or use for the purpose of a first draft, be very specific. Great. Any questions about this? I want to just hammer home, the more specific you are, the better it is for your audience. If I told you, I'm just going to use my sweet paranormals, I often would say they're like little sweet bites, like Hallmark movies, you know? Like I was inspired by Hallmark movies for these little sweet paranormal romances. You know, they're like paranormal Hallmark movies in the form of, you know, novellas. There we go. Police procedural set in Appalachian, Virginia. Great. Yes. Don't worry about being pretty with the language. Yeah, that kind of thing is fabulous. Sometimes we market my husband's work with like set in the San Francisco Bay Area, you know, Jewish thrillers set in the San Francisco Bay Area. That's very attractive to people. All right. I think everyone gets my message there. All right, let's move on. You're welcome to keep throwing your genre into the chat as we go. I will circle back. Audience. Let's talk about audience. Here, you don't want to just say women or men or anyone who likes to read. See if you can niche it down. Think of yourself if you are not sure. You know, I'm a middle-aged woman, so I could say, you know, I write action adventure stories for middle-aged women to, you know, and that would be honest. And that would also be very, then you could think about, oh, other middle-aged women who like to read action adventure stories. Are they savvy? Are they adventurous? Are they busy? Are they tech savvy? Are they, like my husband writes for Jewish people who are Jewish who are wanting to come back to their faith, for example. That's something specific. So let me give you 1 minute to work on that and see what you come up with. All right, audience. Anyone have examples for audience? I see someone nodding. Book club members, nice. Good. I'd love to be more specific, although maybe book club members tend to be middle-aged women who like to drink wine. Psychological thriller set in Austin for optimistic people, exposing the dark side of humanity and showing that good can conquer evil. Excellent. Now, just to point out, you did something here, Londo, that a lot of people do when they're writing their author branding statement, which is they start to talk about the book. And that's fabulous, but that doesn't belong in the author branding statement. But what I love what you have here is optimistic people. It actually makes me chuckle. Psychological thriller set in Austin for optimistic people. Makes me so curious right there. The rest is really great, but it isn't part of the exercise, as you'll see, but definitely useful and to summarize the work that you do. People who love action and adventure or learning about something new. Fabulous. Yes, I love it, Juanita. That is a specific kind of reader. Absolutely. Anybody else want to share their audience? And you'll get it, you can keep sharing as we go forward, because the next part you're actually touching on. Juanita, you touched on this. The third part of our 4-part statement speaks to the audience's desired result. Actually, and what we're looking for is the emotion, because we're writing fiction. If we're talking about nonfiction books, then we'd get into the result, like balance your checkbook or grow a garden. Right now, we want actually their desired result is really an experience. Is it an out of this world adventure? Is it a sweet escape? Is it a rip-roaring read? So what you said here, Juanita, was that they love action and adventure, and they want to or learn something new. So see if you can hone in which one of those speaks the most powerfully, because action and adventure does kind of include learning something new, but also includes this desire for getting up out of the house, right? Whereas learning something new, we could just do from our couch. So you can decide which one of those are you talking to. Mary says, people interested in environmental and political conflicts. Yes. And what is the emotional experience that they get, Mary, by being interested in environmentally and political conflicts? Let's see, a mix of humor, mystery, and suspense. Yeah, so that kind of speaks to me to genre. That's not so much about the audience or the audience's desired result. But I love that. It gets me very curious about that kind of story. And why do people like to read stories that have humor, mystery, and suspense? Maybe they want to laugh at the world's foibles, or they want to be relieved. They want to chuckle, into, I don't know, there's something very comfortable about being able to laugh while you also solve a mystery. All right, I'm gonna let you struggle with this a little bit. This can be challenging, but it also can be very powerful. All right, give it a try for 1 minute. Great. So someone said getting attached to an engaging reader. Yeah, say more about that, getting attached. Is it a falling in love? Is it like, oh, they can be my best friend? Oh, or is it like, I want to just tag along wherever they go, like a little puppy? Like what? Tell me the quality of that attachment. That's interesting. Let's see, makes them get curious enough to want to get out and experience a new hobby or activity. Yes, Juanita, spurs them into action. Think about how, as you start to share these, I'm going to encourage you now to shorten them, because the whole goal, your end goal, is to put this into one sentence. It's a fun challenge for writers. Great. So Juanita, it sounds like you want to spur your readers into action. Let's see what else we have here. Mary, solve a puzzle, learn about Texas issues and environment. Interesting. Great. So they get to, so think about what we get when we solve a puzzle. We get to feel smart. We get to feel good. We get to feel in control. Think about the quality of solving a puzzle that you most enjoy, or that you notice readers most enjoy. Let's see, want to share her adventures. Yeah, and what do we feel when we get to share the adventures? That's why I use empowered. You're welcome to use empowered as well. When we go on adventures through the stories we read, we feel like, you know what, I can do that too. And that's empowerment. Or maybe we feel hopeful, or we feel excited. So as you can see, I'm trying to get down to the core emotion here. Let's see, readers looking to break out of everyday routines to have edgy adventures. Very nice. Edgy adventures. That's very catchy. That tells me a lot. It's not your normal everyday adventure like, oh, ho hum. It's edgy. It's a little bit dangerous. Yeah, very nice use of the word edgy there. It could be that readers want to feel, they want to expand their sense of self. They want to feel larger than life. They want to feel that anything is possible. So we're trying to get down to that gem of emotional experience. Let's see. Satisfaction of the aha moment combined with the warm feeling that all is now well. Yeah. So there's that. How do we say? Yeah, I like satisfaction. It's a very powerful word. All is well. Readers who want to feel that satisfaction, that all is well. Yeah, see if you can shorten it down. All right, we have one more to do, and then I'm going to give you a chance to work on the whole sentence, and we'll work on it together as well. All right, this is the fourth element. Now, I've given you 4 pieces, and these 4 pieces don't have to be in this order. You can move things around, as you will see. Just to let you know, I teach this as the 4th piece, but it doesn't have to be at the end. It could be somewhere else. So this 4th piece is, and this is a real, language job, it is meant to be represented by one powerful verb. Like, I want to empower my readers. That's the one I use a lot. Inspire, motivate, transport, challenge, help, guide. My husband uses thrill. So see if you can look back at your values, look at them like, what is it that you as the author, you show up and you're like, I really want to inspire people. I really want to motivate them. I really want to thrill them. I really want to titillate them, right? A romance writer might say that. I really want to guide them. So think of the verb that comes out of your values and put it in this place. And I came up with empower many years ago because I realized all the work I was doing, I didn't just want to like fish for other people. I wanted to teach other people to fish. I want to teach you how to do your author branding. So I want to empower you. I want to give you the tools. And that was the word that I like using the most. So my challenge to you is see if, do a brainstorm list if that helps, and see if you could find the most powerful verb that represents your values. And I'm going to give you a minute for that. All right, so please share in the chat your verb, and you're welcome to start to try and put all 4 pieces together into one sentence. Let's see, we have excite, fabulous. We have transport readers into a mystery they want to solve. Yes, and I think transport is a very powerful, can be very powerful. And excite, yeah, what else? What else we got? What other, see if you can narrow it down to one verb, one powerful verb. Inspire, yeah, great. Now, yeah, any questions here? Any messy first drafts that you want to throw out there and get some feedback on? Enlighten, thank you. So in a moment, I'm going to challenge you. Embed, oh, interesting. I'm very curious what embed can do. I'm not sure. I'd love to see that. Immerse, yes. Immerse. And how does immerse relate? Yeah. All right. Now it's time to put these together. All right. So here's the 4 pieces I've been talking about. And I also want to just let you know that I think if I click on this share for feedback, it's going to jump us out of the slideshow. So I will come back to this, but I have a link where you can post this online on my blog, and I'm happy to give you written feedback later on as well. So anyone try and put this together. I'm purposely like, I don't have everybody's pieces, but if you throw in your full messy sentence here, put the 4 pieces together, put it together in a sentence, throw it in the chat, I will give you feedback. And I recognize you may want to just mess with it a bit. Just to keep in mind, as a reminder, your genre needs to be specific. The more specific, the better. Use a string of words. Tell us where your stories are taking place, or what time period, or what subgenre. It's okay that this is 3 or 4 words in your first draft. Your audience, again, specific as you can. Adjectives plus nouns. Your reader's desired experience is usually expressed with adjectives. Like, you're writing your story, your genre for middle-aged women who want an escape. Oh, here comes one of my cats. Or, come on. And then your intended action upon the reader is going to be a verb. And you are going to usually, so mine was, if you remember, I write magical tales of romance, mystery, and adventure to empower young women and girls, my audience, to be the hero of their own lives, which is, I think, something that people want when they read those kinds of stories. All right, they're coming in. Come on, Rocket. Come join the party. All right. I write contemporary women's fiction that excites readers looking to break out of everyday routines to have edgy adventures with characters solving mysteries and exploring the evolving nature of identity and friendship. Great. So I just want to say that it'll have more power if you don't talk about the story. If you just talk about the genre, the audience's, the reader's desired experience, and your intended action. So one way you might want to reword this is that you write contemporary women's fiction that excites readers looking to break out of everyday routines. And I would actually, I wonder if your edgy adventures, that's part of your genre. You actually, what if you said that you wrote edgy mysteries about friendship? So you put that first, that you write edgy mysteries about friendship that excite readers looking to break out of their everyday routine, something like that. That way you put the pieces that are specific to your kinds of stories. I love that edgy adventures and the friendship. Identity doesn't need to be, I think you don't need to put that in the headline, because every good story usually has a shift of some kind in identity. So that's just my take. Play with that, see if you can shorten it. the goal of this sentence is not only to have it in your writing online as part of your promotions, but it's also to be able to speak it out loud when someone says, what do you write? And to find a way to make it really comfortable to say. And to that end, it's not very long. I haven't counted it. Let's see. I don't know, 10, 15 words, something like that, 20 at the most. Yeah. Okay, thanks for nodding, Maureen. Great. Did I set the timer for y'all to put this together? Let me give you 1 minute. And Rocket, you want to say hi to everyone? He's more interested in trying to make a place on my lap. Okay. I'll give you 1 minute to work on this. All right, how's it going? Oh, some more coming in. Okay. Londo, psychological thrillers for optimistic readers who accept the reality of the darker side of humanity, but believe no one is irredeemable and good can conquer evil. Fabulous. This is a good summary of your books. And I'm wondering if how you can shorten it. So according to my little formula here, what's missing for me is your intended action upon the readers. We know your genre, we know your audience. So your genre, psychological thrillers, the audience, optimistic readers, and then who accept the reality of the darker side of humanity, but believe no one is irredeemable and good can conquer evil. So you've got two big concepts there. But this doesn't actually address their desired experience of, it's like what they reach for when they pick up a book like yours. It's like the feeling they get or they hope to get when they finish the book. So they're like, what is that feeling when they get to the end? Is it good can conquer evil? That's it feels mundane, but it also feels like we're getting there. But also I'm curious, where does your intended action upon the reader? That's my feedback there. Let's see, Juanita. I write romantic suspense to inspire readers to step into their own adventures. Yes, 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 we're getting there. Nice and short. And I'm curious if you could have a more powerful verb than step. I like that you're focused on that adventure and romantic suspense. Is there something also more specific about your romantic suspense that will draw people in? Is it I don't read romantic, is it with bodyguards, or is it with military, or is it with the FBI, like those kind of things that I know can attract your reader. And yeah, I would encourage you to find a more powerful verb for step. And then lastly, let's see, your intended action, which is to inspire. So I think you're very close, Juanita. And then also I would ask you, like, how does it feel to say this out loud? And how does it excite you? Does it inspire you also? So your own verb that you intend upon the reader, the ideal is to also feel it for yourself. Great, good job. Some more, do we have some more coming? All right, Francine, thank you. I'm not sure what MTS stands for, so maybe you can explain that. MTS stories for 40+ women and men to encourage and strengthen them to tackle life through relatable and fun characters. Great mystery, thriller, suspense. Okay, so I would encourage you to get more specific about your mystery, thriller, suspense. Especially, like, are you writing mashups? Are they all of these three things combined? And what makes them unique or remarkable or identifiable? Since everyone, is generally like, I could say I could write that. I'm writing MTS, but it's too vague, I think. I like how specific your audience is. I like that you have 2 strong verbs. I would encourage you to go down to 1. Is it encourage or is it strengthen? I love to tackle life. That feels really visceral and specific. And then relatable and fun characters, we actually don't need that there because we're going to assume that. And if humor is a part of your work, how can you make this statement have more humor in it? But I don't think you need through relatable and fun characters because, yeah. So you could add fun into your genre so that it would be like humorous mysteries set in blah, blah, blah location, or humorous thrillers with a tickle of suspense, right? Like bring humor more to the forefront if that's a big part of your work. So you've got your genre can be more specific. You've got your audience, which feels pretty specific. You have 2 good verbs, pick one. And you have your intended action, which is tackle life, which I think you could just, boom, you could stop there, or you might want to rearrange that. Okay, I hope that helps. Pat, I write police procedurals, very specific kind of mystery genre, that challenge aging suburbanites to solve puzzling mysteries set in rural central Virginia. Great. So you could move. You've got your specific genre, subgenre. I like your challenging aging suburbanites. That makes me chuckle, and that's very specific. To solve puzzling mysteries feels redundant because that's implied in your genre. So I'm wondering if there's a different verb there. And the fact that they're set in rural central Virginia, I love how specific that is. And I would include that in your genre, that you write police procedurals set in rural central Virginia that challenge aging suburbanites, period. Because everyone knows that we're solving puzzles. And that's kind of humorous. It feels like a little bit of humor in there. What is it that your readers, your aging suburbanites, what do they want? What is their desired experience? Do they want to feel smart? Do they want to feel comforted? Do they want to feel, what is that end result, that end emotional experience? You're getting there. It makes me very curious to read your work when I know the specific, that it's a police procedural, that it's set in rural central Virginia, that you're challenging aging suburbanites. I think that's hilarious. All right, someone else wrote, I write contemporary murder mysteries set in the Texas Hill Country to enthrall readers seeking an engaging heroine. Yes. We've got our specific subgenre, contemporary murder mysteries set in Texas Hill Country. Your verb, which is to enthrall. And now your readers seeking an engaging heroine. That's interesting. What is it about? What is it they want? What is the emotional experience of that seeking of the engaging heroine? I'm not really sure. So, and that is so again, I'm pointing to the reader's desired experience is not 100% clear for me. All right, do we have one more? Need a workshop for you? You're always welcome to come back to me and share it on a blog post that I'll put in the chat in a little bit. Really fun. I have to say that when you tell us where your stories are set, I think that's a big draw. I've never been to Texas Hill Country. I've never been to rural central Virginia, but I know that when I read your stories, I get to go there. And that is a huge draw for people. That's one of the reasons why we read, I think, is to travel. All right, so feel free to post in the chat. Hopefully I'll get back to it. But I want to keep going because, well, we addressed this question already, which is, can you have more than one author? Or what do you actually know? It was addressed a little differently. But some people ask me, can you have more than one author branding statement? And what I've noticed is, depending on the audience you're in front of, you can tweak, you can tweak your statement. Or if you write multiple genres, try writing one statement for each of them. And then once you've done that a few times, then try to write what I call an umbrella statement to encompass all of your genres. If you're writing under one pen name and you want to show up with, to let people know you have many different things. All right. So I want to move now to tagline. Some of you really started to get deeper into your find that powerful verb, find what it is your readers want. And from there, there's no hard and fast rule, but what I've discovered is the tagline is going to come out of your statement. So I'm just going to use me for example. The magical tales of romance, mystery, and adventure can be a tagline. And actually, that's what I put on the top of my website. But I can also use empowering girls and women to be the heroes of their own lives. And what I find in book reviews is that people will mirror that back to me. Or I was just playing in preparation for today. I was like, maybe I could do girl and women heroes or stories about women heroes and put it on a shield so that the visual will also convey kind of this military or fighters kind of thing that I tend to do. So, I think someone had the one about the suburbanites that really caught my attention. Using that'll make us chuckle. One of my previous clients, she wrote her author branding statement, and then from there she came up with otherworldly romantic adventures, something like that. And that is her brand, her tagline now, and she uses everywhere. And that was the kind of stories that she writes. So you can play with that, as you see I've done here. I also want to give you the outline for an author bio. I have a whole article on this and teach this as well. And I'm going to give you an example in a moment. Once you have your author branding statement, now another thing you can do with it is put it into your author bio when it's on the back of the book or on the Amazon page or on your website. You'll want to, in some cases, like you'll see I've stated my genres outright. And then you can put your author branding statement, which is meant to be an emotional pull. And then you want to put in your humanity that shows that you're an ordinary person. And then point 4 is your credibility, and point 5 is a call to action. And I'm going to give you this example. So here's what's on my author website. Award-winning author, which is a credibility piece. Beth Barani writes in several genres, including young adult adventure fantasy, paranormal romance, and science fiction mysteries. Inspired by living abroad in France and Quebec, she loves creating magical tales of romance, mystery, and adventure that empower women and girls to be the hero of their own lives. For fun, and this is the humanity piece, Beth enjoys walking her neighborhood, gardening on her patio, watching movies, and traveling with her husband, author Ezra Barani. They live in Oakland, California, with a piano, over 1,000 books, and usually demanding sweet cats. So all that's like the humanity piece. And that's why I asked you to think about your hobbies, the hobbies that you care to share with the world. And then lastly, a call to action. Sign up here to be notified about once a month of book news and special events. And then the link. So one call to action. So this is, y'all will get a copy of the slides, and so you will have this outline for the author bio. And I realized after sharing my bio a lot that I wanted to be really upfront with my awards, really upfront and specific about my genres, because that is often how readers are thinking. And then I wanted to add inspired by living abroad in France and Quebec, because several of my stories are either inspired by or take place in specifically France. And I just wanted to also imply, my Francophile nature. Okay, so we're wrapping up. And today we covered author branding, which is part of my larger class called Branding for Novelists. We talked about why I think you need author branding, and I believe you do. we walked through your author branding statement through the exercise, and I mentioned how to adapt it for tagline and how to use it in your author bio. Other people have told me they've used this statement and they've adapted it, usually with the tagline, for their social media and for when they present at events. So I am open to questions. We have time for questions, and I want to share with you a little bit more about me, or not me really, but my material. So yeah, let's see. Let me open up the screen so I can see folks. Any questions about what we covered so far? Anybody have an author branding statement they want feedback on? Any questions? Let's see. Ooh, Juanita says romance with a side of murder. That is fun. Do you have humor in your work, Juanita? Because that definitely has fun, and also kind of implies food. And that's really fun, you know, with a dollop of murder. Yeah, fun, really fun. I enjoy that, and it really tells us, you know, what kind of stories you're writing. Excellent. So I want to let you know that this material is part of a larger class called Branding for Novelists. And just a little bit about it in case you're interested in diving in more. In this class, which is a home study class that lives on my school platform, Barani School of Fiction, I talk about how to set up a mailing list to help you cultivate a community and not be dependent on social media, because that's always changing, how to do a launch campaign, how to create a sustainable promotional content plan, so what to share and when. Plus, there's tons of resources in there, and I'm always updating it. Also, you get lifetime access to any material that I add into the course, and one-on-one access to me, and because it is an evergreen course, you can post questions, you can share examples of your author bio, of your author branding statement, of your content plan, of your, if you have questions. I give a lot of resources on email lists, and you get access to our online community, which is a Facebook group of other writers who are active and who are networking and who are sharing about their creative process. You also, so normally this is $169, but I have made a special coupon for everyone who's showing up here today. And for those listening on the replay, this link is here for you. I forgot to put on the slide. It does expire at the end of the year. So it does expire at the end of 2023. And if you would like to take advantage of it, it's 50% off. And the link is, and I can put it in the chat when I close the slides, bethb.net/BFNSIC Austin. So that is the special link, and I'll post it in the chat in just a moment. I have some more resources for you. There's a great book that a colleague of mine has written to inspire all creative entrepreneurs. It's called Buoyant, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Becoming Wildly Successful, Creative, and Free. I find it a really encouraging read. She's a really fun teacher. If you want to dive deeper into branding, there's this really interesting book and process and test you can take called Fascinate, How to Make Your Brand Impossible to Resist by Sally Hogshead. I learned a lot about branding from that. And then I have an article that you'll recognize when you look at it, because it's the material that we did today, summarizes it in an article format. And also you can post your author branding statement here. And it's called Your Clear Message, which is what I used to call it. Get your potential readers curious now. The whole point of this author branding statement is to get people curious. And when people are curious, then they will buy. Then they may buy. And I'll post that link in the chat in a moment. I have a newsletter you're invited to sign up for if you'd like, bethbarani.com/newsletter. You're welcome to connect with me on the socials. I have a YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter or X, TikTok. Well, my assistant runs my TikTok, and Pinterest, and everywhere it's at bethbarani.com. So I am very grateful to be able to present to you today. We still have some time. I'm going to actually close these slides, so and I'll make sure you all get access to them. And if anyone wants to share, we have some time. I have time for questions. I have time for, yeah, whatever y'all want to share. And I'll put some links in the chat for you while I talk. Well, I pause. Here's my offer. And I'm going to add into this offer that it's good until 12/31. Actually, it would be 1/1/2024.
One.
I hear someone laughing. Who's that?
Beth, can I ask you a question about the author bio slide?
Yes.
I was taking notes and I think there were 5 things on there and I wrote down the first 3, but I didn't get number 4 and 5 from that slide. It was genre, author branding statement, your humanity, but I didn't get number 4 and 5.
Yes. Credibility,
Oh,
and then call to action.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just a fun story. When my husband was publishing his first novel, The Torah Codes, and that was his very first book, he didn't have anything. He couldn't say he was an award-winning author. He couldn't say any of that. So, and because there's humor in his work, he said, you know, Ezra Barani won an award in 5th grade for the best limerick or something like that, you know, and that really worked for his brand because it was humor. So if you're a first-time author, where can you pull credibility? It could be that you're an expert in your field. It could be that you're, yeah, I should probably show myself view here, something like that. Yeah, if anyone has questions about how do you handle credibility, let me know if they're a first-time author. Yeah, good. Thank you for that question. Great. Any other questions?
We don't have anybody here in person with questions. I don't know if anybody on Zoom has questions.
Anybody want to get any feedback on their tagline or their author branding statement?
Would you put your tagline like on your website or where do you put your tagline?
Yeah, website. I've seen people, let's see if I can show you mine, and I can show you that author I was telling you about with the Otherworldly Adventures. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, let me share my screen. All right, so here's mine. It is, it could be better, but I put it right up top, Magical Tales of Romance, Mystery, and Adventure. Then I also put it right here at the top of my website on the homepage. I think it could be better, but that's what it is. Let's see, Carrie, here's Carrie's, who I was thinking of, author of Otherworldly Romantic Adventures. And she created that right out of her author branding statement. So it's part of her banner. Yeah, good question. Let's see. Please tell us more about your books on writing. Sure, you guys would like me to talk a little bit about that? Absolutely. So I have several books on writing, and I have so I have my biggest one, or my flagship book, I like to call it, is Plan Your Novel Like a Pro, which is all about the planning process, which is, you know, this time of year, if you want to do NaNoWriMo, this is a good time to think about planning. And this book will take you from idea. So here's the page, or planyournovel.com. Yeah, is the website. So this book, it's also a course, will walk you through everything from idea to character, to world building, to the summary of your book, to planning the macro story, to planning your scenes, to ending up with an outline so that you can write. Or I'm not a big fan of outlines. I think of them as plans, hence Plan Your Novel Like a Pro. This book is co-written with my husband, Ezra Barani. He tends to be a more left brain thinker, and I tend to be a more right brain thinker, or more holistic. And together we hopefully cover all the parts. And if you've never gone through a planning process, or you consider yourself more of a pantser, this book was really written with pantsers in mind, and people tell me that they really enjoy it. I have some other books down here at the bottom. I was the editor and publisher of this book by Alice Gaines on Mastering Deep Point of View. If you want to get deeper into really, what are the craft bits that you need to know, how to actually phrase your sentences so that you are indicating that you are deep point of view. And that was pulled right from a webinar that we had Alice teach us. I have a very shortened version of the Plan Your Novel book. This is like 50 pages, 75 pages, the 7 essential keys to planning your novel. If you're really on the pantser side and you're really like, oh, don't even get me planning, but you want a little bit of support and process, how to think from idea to plan, this book is for you. People tell me, they're like, it was just the right amount, slim little volume. And I have one on Twitter, which, is there. It's really more about marketing than it is about Twitter. And it talks about how to overcome the hurdles of not really wanting to market, but then yet wanting to find a way to make it work for you. So I really wrote it for people who are just starting out, and Twitter has changed a lot, but the principles in this book, I remain the same. And then Writer's Adventure Guide. This was my very first book for writers that I published, and it's really a self-coaching guide to walk you through getting ready to write, creating a structure, creating a plan for the macro process of writing. Really is a self-coaching guide, and it's built on the hero's journey. So I liken each stage of the hero's journey to the creative writing process. And then lastly, well, that was my first print book. This was my first ebook that I wrote before everything. And it's a collection of 10 articles on different ways to get over the hump when you're stuck, from some very holistic exercises and creative exercises like talking to your critical mind, to some planning oriented exercise like working yourself backwards from a goal that are more linear. And so 10 different articles that are fun. It's a short and sweet little ebook called Overcome Writer's Block. So thank you for asking. And I do have one other book that is actually free called, let's see if this shows up. It's loading. World Building Workbook for Fiction Writers. I just came out with that this year. It's free to download. And it's all about walking you through all the different parts to think about if you are world building. And it serves for contemporary writers as well as anybody working either historical, fantastical, or science fiction. It is really geared for science fiction and fantasy writers. But if you're looking for more support on building out your world as a contemporary writer, I think it can help you as well. That was something fun I created this year. I think I have a few other things hidden in the background, but those are the main ones. Thank you for asking, Pat. That was fun. Great. Well, I would love to one day visit Austin. I haven't yet been there, but I look forward to one day coming. And yeah, thank you so much for having me today. This was really fun. I hope you found it valuable. Again, if you want feedback, please do post it on the blog. That's in here in the chat. And I'd be happy to help you. Also, if you want to tag me on the socials for feedback, some people in the past have tagged me on Twitter for feedback. I do that as well. So just reach out to me and be happy to help. You're so welcome, Francine. I'm really glad that this was helpful for you. And remember that your author branding statement is a living piece of marketing. You can continuously change it and it'll evolve as you evolve as a writer. So thank you so much, Sisters in Crime, for having me. I don't know if Stephanie is here. Stephanie was my original contact. I'm not sure. Is she there?
She's here.
Hey, Stephanie. Hi, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thank you. We really appreciate having you.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah, really fun. I'd love to come back if you would like me back. Lots of other topics to talk about. And yes, I maybe think that's my job. As a writing teacher and a coach, I'm like, oh man, Beth, you made me think. Oh, you asked such good questions. Okay, now I got to go away and think. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your coming.
Yo, thank you so much. All right, everyone, take care, and I will talk to you later. Ciao.
Bye.